Hello, and welcome to the Exponential English Podcast. Today, I want to talk about something very important for your English. And it may surprise you. English is not only a reading language, English is a sound based language. Yes, reading is helpful, subtitles can be helpful, text can be helpful. But if your goal is real fluency, then you must train your ears, not only your eyes. Many English learners do the same thing. They watch videos with subtitles, they read every word, they pause again and again, they translate every sentence, and then they think, good, I studied English today. But later, when they hear real spoken English without subtitles, they feel lost. The words feel too fast, the sounds feel unclear, and they think, why can I read English, but I cannot understand it when people speak? This happens for a very simple reason. You trained your eyes, but you did not train your ears. Your eyes became strong, your ears stayed weak. So today I want to help you change that because this problem is very common. And the good news is you can fix it. You do not need perfect grammar first. You do not need a huge vocabulary first. You do not need to understand every word first. You need to start listening in the right way. Let me explain. Imagine you go to the gym. If you want stronger legs, you train your legs. If you want stronger arms, you train your arms. You do not train your shoulders and hope your legs become strong by magic. It does not work like that. Language works in a similar way. If you want to understand spoken English, you must train with spoken English. If you only read, you are training reading. If you only study grammar, you are training grammar. If you only memorize word lists, you are training memory. But if you want listening fluency, you must train listening. This sounds simple, but many learners forget this. They want listening results from reading practice. That is why progress feels slow. Now, I am not saying subtitles are evil. I am not saying reading is bad. Reading is useful. Subtitles can support you, but they should not become your main tool every time you listen. Because when subtitles are always there, your brain takes the easy path. Your eyes do all the work. Your ears relax. Your ears become lazy. You may think you are listening, but often you are mostly reading. And when the subtitles disappear, your support disappears too. Then real spoken English feels impossible. Maybe this has happened to you. Maybe you watched a video in English and understood a lot with subtitles. You felt confident. You felt smart. Then you turned subtitles off. And suddenly everything became difficult. You recognized almost nothing. That does not mean you are bad at English. It means you used the wrong training method for the skill you want. And that is very important to understand. This is not failure. This is feedback. It is your brain saying, I need more ear training. Now let's talk about what real listening training feels like. At first, it can feel strange. You listen, but the sounds seem to move too quickly. The words seem connected. Native speakers do not sound like your textbook. They do not pronounce every word clearly and separately. Words blend together, sounds change, rhythm matters, stress matters, emotion matters, intonation matters. This is real English. and your ears need time to get used to it. Think about music. The first time you hear a new song, maybe it sounds messy, but after a few listens, you start to notice the pattern. You hear the beat, you hear the melody, you begin to expect what comes next. English works like that too. Your ears need repeated contact with the sounds, not just the meaning, the sounds, the rhythm, the music of the language. This is why listening should not always begin with understanding every word. For many learners, that idea feels uncomfortable. They think, if I do not understand everything, then I am wasting time. But that is not true. In fact, one of the biggest mistakes learners make is expecting full understanding too early. Real listening growth often starts before full understanding. First, your ears wake up. Then your brain starts recognizing patterns. Then words become easier to catch. Then meaning becomes clearer. Understanding often comes after repeated listening, not before it. This is how children learn too. Children do not begin with grammar charts. They do not begin with subtitles. They listen. They hear the same sounds again and again. At first, they do not understand much, but slowly their brains learn the patterns. Then meaning grows. Then speech grows. Now adults are different from children in some ways, but this part still matters. Your brain can still learn through sound first. You are not too old. You are not too late. You just need better listening habits. So let me share a simple daily method. This method is easy. It does not require a lot of time, and it can be very powerful if you do it consistently. Step 1. Choose a short piece of audio. It can be a short video, a simple podcast clip, a slow conversation, something not too long. Maybe 1 minute, maybe 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes. Short is good. Now listen the first time without subtitles. Do not pause, do not translate, do not panic, just listen. Your job is not to understand everything. Your job is to let your ears meet the sound. That is all. Just listen from beginning to end. Maybe you understand 30%, maybe 10%, maybe almost nothing. That is okay. Stay calm. You are training. Step 2. Listen again. Still without subtitles, but this time focus on rhythm, emotion, and intonation. Ask yourself simple questions. Is the speaker calm or excited? Are they serious or playful? Where does the voice go up? Where does it go down? Which words sound strong? Which words sound soft? Where are the pauses? This is very important. Because real listening is not only about catching dictionary words, it is also about hearing the shape of the sentence, the feeling of the sentence, the movement of the sentence. English has music, and your ears need to hear that music. Step 3. Listen a third time. Only now, if you really need help, you can check subtitles, but use them carefully. Do not depend on them. Do not stare at them the whole time. Just use them to confirm what you heard or missed. Then go back and listen again. The goal is not to read the answer. The goal is to connect the sound to the meaning. That connection is where real progress happens. Let me say that again in a very simple way. First, hear the sound, then notice the rhythm, then check only when needed. That is much better than reading first and listening second. Because when you read first, your brain expects spelling, but real speech does not always sound like spelling. That is why many learners know a word on paper, but do not recognize it in conversation. For example, maybe you know the phrase going to. Very easy, right? But in fast speech, you may hear gonna. Maybe you know want to, but in speech, it may sound like wanna. Maybe you know did you, but in conversation, it can sound like did ya. If you only train your eyes, these sounds can confuse you. But if you train your ears, these patterns become familiar. And slowly, English starts feeling less random. It starts feeling more natural. Now, let's talk about something important. You do not need long hours every day. You do not need to listen for 3 hours. You do not need to feel exhausted. Consistency matters more than intensity. 10 minutes a day is powerful. Really. 10 focused minutes every day can change your listening more than one long study session once a week. Because your ears learn through regular contact, daily contact, steady contact, think of it like watering a plant. A little water every day helps it grow. A huge amount once in a while is not the same. So if you feel busy, that is okay. Use 10 minutes. Choose one short video, one short podcast clip, one easy conversation. Listen in the right way. Then do it again tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day. At first, the changes may feel small, but then something interesting happens. English begins to feel slower. Not because speakers changed, but because your ears improved. You start catching sounds earlier. You start expecting common patterns. Your brain wastes less energy. And little by little, English becomes clearer. This is such an exciting moment for learners because one day you suddenly notice something. A video that used to feel too fast now feels easier. A sentence that used to sound blurry now sounds clear. A phrase you once missed completely now feels obvious. That is progress. And that progress comes from ear training, not from reading more subtitles. Now, I want to be honest with you. This method can feel uncomfortable in the beginning. Why? Because it asks you to stay with uncertainty. It asks you to listen, even when you do not understand everything. And many people do not like that feeling. They want control. They want instant clarity. They want to know every word right now. But language learning does not always work that way. Sometimes growth begins in the unclear stage. Sometimes your ears are learning quietly before you can see the results. So do not quit too early. Do not say, "This is not working," after 2 days. Give your ears time. Trust the process. You are building a real skill, and real skills take repetition. If you want, you can make this even more effective with one small habit. Repeat short parts out loud after listening, not to be perfect, just to copy the sound, copy the rhythm, copy the emotion, copy the melody of the sentence. This helps your mouth and ears work together. And that can make listening even stronger. Because the more you feel the sounds in your own mouth, the more easily you can notice them when other people speak. So, listening and repeating can become a very strong team. But even without repeating, the most important thing is this: stop making your eyes do all the work. Give your ears a chance to grow. That is where fluency begins. not in reading every line, not in translating every word, not in stopping every 5 seconds, but in learning to stay with the sound, to notice the sound, to trust the sound. So the next time English feels too fast, do not immediately think English is impossible. Ask yourself a better question. Have I trained the right skill? Because maybe English is not too fast. Maybe your ears just need practice, and that is something you can improve. Day by day, minute by minute, listen first, understand later, train your ears, and let your brain slowly build the map of the language. Over time, you will notice the difference. English will feel less like noise, less like a wall, less like a puzzle, and more like something living, something familiar, something you can follow, something you can enjoy. So today I want to leave you with one simple message. If you have been depending too much on subtitles, that is okay. You are not alone. Many learners do this, but now you know what to change. Do not only train your eyes, train your ears, even for just 10 minutes a day. Use short audio. Listen without subtitles first. Listen again for rhythm and feeling. Check subtitles only when truly necessary. Then keep going. Stay consistent. Stay patient. And remember this: fluency does not begin when your eyes recognize the words. Fluency begins when your ears begin to trust the sounds. Thank you for listening. Before you go, remember this: you do not need to be perfect. You just need to keep going. Learning English is the same. Some days are easy, some days are slow, some days feel frustrating. That is normal. What matters is that you show up. You listen, you repeat, you try again. If you stay consistent, your English will grow slowly, naturally. This is exponential English. Small steps every day. Big change over time. Thank you for spending this time with me. Take a breath, and when you are ready, keep learning.